Hello and welcome back. The Roottrees are dead. They're still dead. However, we have found information about a bunch of other Roottrees who are very much alive, and we need to figure out what happened to them. Which of course means that we have to look up old magazines about folk songs, because that's the obvious next step. So, last time we found this album called These Times, which included James Roottree and Clark Rafferty, who was his cousin, along with the LaRue sisters. We know that the LaRue sisters, one of them was married to James, and the other one, at some point, is on this line of his exes. We don't know where. It's probably one of these two because it has a picture, but one of these two is probably his ex. We also aren't entirely sure if he had children with her, or whether she is just with him when he had children, which is interesting. I also realized previously that we can probably assume that this is a woman. Why can we assume that? Well, because his name is Rafferty. So this would imply that this person is also called Rafferty. This would make sense. We've heard nothing about this guy changing his name. So do we have any other Raffertys in our name database? Yes. And in fact, we have two Rafferty LaRues. That means he had children with the LaRue sister. Now, the thing that's got a little bit of a twist in here is that we know that he was caught in bed by Jane LaRue and they broke up over the fact that he was in bed with her sister. So, I'm going to say that this has to be a Rafferty. It's either Chris or Jacob, which I don't know which one it's going to be. But these have to be Jessica and Katrina, right? Because they're sisters. So he did have another child who must be Chris or Jacob. But I'm going to assume that this, based upon what we saw previously in our evidence, I'm getting distracted from the folk song, but based on what we saw in this evidence, he was trying to get Katrina, his youngest, to calm down for the picture he had the idea for the Roottree Super Bowl ad. So this must be Katrina, and this must be Jessica, I think, based upon what we saw there. So, we're going to go all the way down here. Oops, sorry. So we're going to have Katrina Rafferty LaRue, and we're going to have Jessica Rafferty LaRue. I don't know what their occupations are, but I know that this is Katrina and this is Jessica. Now, when was this picture taken? So I found this on the website. Do I still have it open? Yeah. Famous Super Bowl ad campaign. Huh. I don't know. When did he join? So let's look for Clark Rafferty LaRue, actually. Because we haven't looked for his full name. We looked for Clark Rafferty, but we haven't looked for Clark Rafferty LaRue. Okay, that's fine. We're not getting anything out of that. Famous Super Bowl ad campaign. Roottree Super Bowl ad? Maybe we can look up that. There we go. The Roottree Maple Super Bowl commercial from 1994 has a family bickering in a department store and the father bites into a Roottree Maple Crisp. Time stops and a jingle plays when he dances down the aisle. As he does, different things in the department store become Roottree candy. For example, a bed that the father collapses onto becomes a giant chocolate bar. The jingle Need the Rest went on to be featured in other commercials with other scenarios. So, the Roottree Maples Super Bowl commercial was 1994. So this means that those children who we see in this picture were this age in 1994. It's currently 1998. I think that these children would still be children at this point. So therefore, I'm going to say that these are students K to 12, which we were told previously. Although, could you be college? No, you couldn't be college. You're not in college. We're told that 12 was 18. Do you look like a 14-year-old? I don't think you look like a 14-year-old. There we go. So let's do this. So I think I've got 2 names in here. So I think those are actually locked in. I think those are fine. I think those are perfect. Okay. So I suspect that this is either this or this is Jane. I don't know which is going to be which. Do we have any other LaRues, actually? LaRue? Wait. I have no more... Wait, is it LaRue? It's LaRue. LaRue. Ah, we have Jane and Kim. So this is either Jane or Kim. We don't know which one it is currently. But we know it's one of them, and we know the previous one is his ex. Anyway, back to the folk tunes. So, MMM Magazine, these times, that's what we're looking for. These times on MMM Magazine. So let's go in here, looking for these times. A section of the magazine called Skip It or Flip It has a short, pithy blurbs about new records. An album called These Times is listed under the Skip It column with the following. These Times, a new single from C&J plus J&D. Clark Rafferty, Jim Roottree, and 2 of the LaRue sisters. Amateurish folk-style songwriting is catchy at times, but ultimately doesn't do anything new. Okay. So that doesn't really give us very much to work with there. So, let's go back to our spider search. So, we're going to look for Jane LaRue. Jane LaRue. Oh, Jane Del Vecchio is listed on a talent for hire site as a wedding singer. Okay. Way down in the credentials section of her biography, it mentions that she got her start as a young girl when she was Jane LaRue of the Lucky LaRues. It also mentions to only contact her agent in the event that you actually wish to hire her, that any and all inquiries about her past or her sister would be ignored. Okay, that makes sense. So, search. Nothing there. Okay, what can we make an assumption of here? Well, we can assume if she's called Jane... Jane Del Vecchio, that she probably married somebody. So I'm assuming that you must be Jane LaRue. And therefore, that is you. Okay. So you must be the last LaRue sister. You must be Kim LaRue. And this must be you. Okay. We're going to look up Kim LaRue. Also, I think I know who to look up here, but that's intriguing. Let's look for Kim LaRue. Kim LaRue. Kim LaRue? Nothing, huh? Okay. Nothing from Kim LaRue, huh? Okay. Okay. That must be Kim, but she must not have much of a presence. So, we have a name. Del. Okay, so... history... Lucky LaRue's. Del Vecchio is not a name on here. Okay. Why was I looking up Del Vecchio? Because I was trying to figure out whether she had a child with who was his child but was actually somebody else's child, or like was being raised as someone else's child. That's what I was trying to look up. So we know that you're Jane LaRue. So who were you married? Who were you going out with before Jane? Who was your first spouse? Wait, let me go to Clark Rafferty again. Maybe I missed something. Clark Rafferty. Yeah. Let me look up Clark Roottree. It's probably not his name, but... No, I thought I'd have a look anyway. First wife. Okay. Let's just see what we found about him for a second here. Yeah, so he was doing that. Diamond walked in on Clark in her bed with her and Jane's other sister. Everything exploded. Yeah. Clark never knew his father. Yeah, so we didn't hear any mention of Clark before this point here. So we have no information on Clark's first wife. I mean, let's just have a look. Clark Rafferty first wife? Okay. Let me see if there's anything on Clark Rafferty in here. Because we know this is a music thing. Okay. Anything in Business Watch? No. Okay. Well, we're going to have to leave that as a mystery for now. Anything for it'd be in modern monthly stuff, but is there anything for Jane Del... Did I write it down? Yes, I did. Okay. So let's go back over here. It's unlikely to be in here because she's a wedding singer, but Jane Del Vecchio. Nothing. Okay. It was unlikely. It was unlikely. And we're not going to get anything from that either. Okay. That's fine. Well, we'll leave this for now then. Okay, let's go back down another line of thinking. So we've done this. We got these two locked in, basically. So, James Roottree. Do we know anything about his children? I don't know if we know anything about his children. Let's go back to James Roottree for a second here. So what we're going to do is we're going to look him up in... Yeah, on the internet. So James Roottree. Okay. Just to see what we got here. Other albums you see mentioned are Cherry Tree and Sound of Laughter. So let's just have a look. Cherry Tree. Sound of Laughter. It's worth having a look. Right? Copy. Yeah, nothing. He's been a bit of a recluse and he hasn't made a public appearance since 1996. Okay. What about Diamond LaRue? What if I look up her separately? It just goes to Jim's page. Does she have anything in here? Which doesn't take us just to Jim's page? Oh, we do. Okay. In an article from 1968, you find a small section focusing on young, upcoming talent that Modern Music Monthly predicts will make it big. Has this to say about the LaRues? LaRue sisters got their start doing session work for their great uncle's record label. Okay, if you remember any songs from 1960s, 1965 that featured the voices of kids, they were probably involved. Back then they were credited as the Lucky LaRues. Now that he's passed, they've moved on to bigger and better venues and are going by their full names. Diamond and Jane have been touring with some famous faces. Ever heard of the Roottrees? And are looking to release an album sometime in the next year. Youngest Kim is about to step into a prominent role on Broadway, taking over for one of the children in Oliver, the Lucky LaRues indeed. Okay, so we didn't get any new info there, really. Yeah, I am actually going to just do a little highlight there. I don't think that's going to be relevant, but it's the only bit of information we got. Lucky LaRues? Yeah, it's the only thing we get. Okay, I think that's all we're going to get from that line of questioning. Let's back off for a second. So, let's work on you again. Let's go back to Elias. So Elias. Actually, let's go back to you. So, because this is where we got distracted. So you were somebody... Actually, let's go back to this. So, what this says is... Only the great-grandson of Elias Roottree could make disco this sweet. Great-grandson of Elias Roottree. Well, father, grandfather, this must be Elias Roottree. Well, one of you must be Elias. Oh, it says it right next to it. So I need a picture. So that's Elias. Elias Roottree. Yes. First president? Aha! Well done. So, we got 6, which also means we're going to get a new bit of story as well. So, first president. Oh, actually, we got 9, but we got 6 more than we had previously. We've also unlocked a bunch of optional entries. Okay. So we know Elias Roottree was the great-grandfather, and then we have these two as great-great-grandchildren? Booyah!
You're on a roll. I'll try to keep that momentum going. Carl's office was a mess, thanks to some burst pipes. But I unearthed a photo from a 1970s Roottree reunion. I also found some important-looking papers. You've traced 9 blood relatives so far. I'll have more to share after you find 9 more.
Okay. Right, we don't need any more information currently. This is Gwyneth. This is Gwyneth. Okay, we do need information there. Okay. Well, let's just search for Elias Roottree. Let's see what we get if I search Elias Roottree. Elias Roottree was the founder and first president of the Roottree Candy Company. I'm going to mark it anyway so I have it. You find what is essentially a propaganda site about him created by the Roottree Candy Company. At the top there is a picture of him and his wife Gwyneth. The picture has been added to your evidence. There's also a biography section that has some additional info. He is credited for inventing 5 pieces of popular maple candy. Before that, the farm he inherited by marrying his wife only produced syrup. After 5 pieces became wildly successful, Elias spent his time and energy on cementing his reputation as a family man. He is quoted on the site as saying, "Blood is thicker than syrup, and that any child linked by blood to me shall be linked by blood to my legacy." The site enthusiastically claims he made good on that promise, but offers no additional details. There are a few more quotes about Elias from a book called Family Man, The Roottree Legacy by Bess Williams. They are said to say they are biased is a massive understatement. Below that, there is a long list of accomplishments and awards. One stands out, like his great-grandson, Carl, Elias was voted Watchman of the Year. We already know that. Okay, so I am going to go over here before we get to the book, because we now have this. Elias and Gwyneth. This is a famous picture of Elias and Gwyneth Roottree. It was taken in 1909 after they founded the Roottree Candy Company, but before it was a success. From what you found searching the internet, it seems quite difficult to find any site about Elias or Gwyneth that isn't accompanied by this picture. Okay. Fair enough. Let's go back to here. So we now know that this is Gwyneth, and this is Elias. Okay. That seems fair. We don't know anything about Gwyneth whatsoever, but that's okay. Right. Although, we did know something about Brenda, but Brenda doesn't matter. That's fine. So we learned something else about you. We saw something about your grandfather at one point, right? Was it only great-grandfather? It was Elias Jr., right? Something about Elias Jr. Second cousin Ernie Jr. No. Texian claims that Elias is going to pivot to ensuring his company's legacy in the Roottree Candy Company remains a family business. Watchman of the Year 36. Okay. So this is Elias in 36. What's the Tlancid Trust? We saw this before. What is the Tlancid Trust? This seems more relevant currently. There we go. The Tlancid, pronounced Tlancid, Trust is a highly unusual corporate arrangement named after Clancy Edward Roottree, who was Elias' son and the Roottree Company's head lawyer at the time. Okay. Due to its unique nature, it's often brought up in online discussions about financial matters and inheritance as an oddity. The company mandates that a fixed percentage of its profits are split every quarter among bank accounts representing each of the blood relatives of Elias and Gwyneth. An account is created for each blood relative at birth and first accessible when they reach 18. The actual numbers have never been have never fully been disclosed to the public, but due to an ever-increasing success of the company, is a significant amount of money. The Tlanced Trust is also known for being essentially impossible to guess around due to many checks and balances written into it. Still, there have been a few situations where family members have tried to forcibly remove other family members from the trust. Most details online are pretty vague since matters are handled internally. The only information you discover is from a university law school, which apparently had a guest lecturer talk about the Roottrees versus RR in 1994. Okay. So we'll just create that highlight for now. While looking into the Tlanced Trust, you've often found mentions to the 5-piece guarantee that went into effect at the same time. Alright. The 5-piece guarantee, in combination with the Tlanced Trust, was Elias Roottree's attempt to ensure the Roottree Candy Company would remain a family business for eternity. In isolation, it is somewhat baffling. The yearly salary of Rootree's president is always locked to the price of a single pack of 5 pieces. When the 5-piece guarantee went into effect, this was 25 cents a year. Now it's closer to $4. Combined with the Tlanced Trust, however, it makes a bit more sense. Elias wanted to ensure that only his direct relatives could afford to be president, and he knew that because their passive income was tied to the profits of the company, they would have a vested interest in keeping the company as profitable and successful as possible. Whether or not this was a smart or successful decision is widely debated both online and in person by economic enthusiasts of all levels of experience. Okay. Fair enough. Take me back to the previous page. So Elias' son is Clancy Edward Roottree. Okay. So, Clancy Edward Roottree has to be one of these 5 names at the top. Oh, also we can close that for now. So one of these 5 is Clancy. Okay. We suspect one of the 5 is Elias Jr. as well. Okay. Fair enough. Let's look up some of these books. So let's start with Family Man, The Roottree Legacy by Bess Williams. Bess Williams from the Public Library, which in 1998 just happened to have books available online. Or is it just information about it? There's no downloadable version because the book is impossible to find these days. Huh. Okay. So any information on Bess Williams online? Bess Williams was an author born in the late 1800s. She lived just outside of Miami and died tragically young in a major hurricane that struck the area in 1926. Information about her or her book Family Man seemed to have faded over time due to lack of interest. Full title. Family Man, The Roottree Legacy. Let's see if we've got anything in here. We're told it was propaganda, but I still want to read it. It's impossible to find a copy of the book these days. I'll just put that in there so I can try and remember it. I also told you my note system is horrible, so that's what we're working with. So the Rootrees versus RR. Okay. Well, I don't know how we're going to find this, but let's just search Rootrees versus RR. You find very few details about this particular incident with regard to the Tlanced Trust. A student that attended the lecture wrote about the following on a Legal Oddities website. What I can tell you, RR attempted unsuccessfully to remove a fellow family member from the trust. It was said RR attempted 2 arguments. First, the person in question was born out of wedlock. Second, they committed a significant crime against a fellow family member. Still, due to the ironclad wording of the Tlanced Trust, it was impossible to remove any direct descendant of Elias Roottree without completely dissolving the trust. So RR was born out of wedlock. That's interesting. So let's see if we can find anyone born out of wedlock. Potentially here? Guardian, adoption, or otherwise. That wasn't out of wedlock. Well, actually, it was out of wedlock. Well, no. Married, split up. When it says split up, though, it doesn't give us a firm, how they split up. As in, were they married and then divorced, or was there something else to it? Okay. So, have we found everything that we can out of these ones? I think we have, and that was 1994. That's fairly recent. just see if we got anything else in here. Yeah. Okay. So, let's have a look at a new thing. We're going to start with this campaign mailer. Vote for Stephanie Jones for City Council. Better for Butler County. This was buried under a ton of other mail that Carl left in his inbox. It had a handwritten note attached that seemed personal. There's a flyer about a candidate for a local office, Stephanie Jones. On the back is an excerpt from a newspaper article from the Butler County Times about her campaign. Stephanie may have grown up on in an unconventional family, to say the least, but in her words, it was still full of love. Now, 22 years later, with a baby of her own due around Christmas, her message for voters is simply, love our future. A handwritten note says, Carl, I know we don't see eye to eye when it comes to the candy company, but if you could talk to your girls about putting out a statement supporting Stephanie, she could use the publicity your daughters bring. Don't let our conflict spread to the next generation. CM. CM. Don't let our conflict spread to the next generation. Okay. So this must be CM, right? Because this is the same generation. I would think that would make sense. I think you must be C... No, because you don't have a child. That's the thing. So it can't be you. CM. So it must be a cousin or something. Interesting. Okay. Intriguing. So yeah, and you'll be a spouse. Okay. Interesting. Well, we'll leave this for now. There's a lot to it. We just don't have any connectors to get us where we need to go yet. This photo has a note attached from your employer. Here's a bonus. When I pulled the water damaged picture of the free spirits out of the frame, this fell out too. Written on the back is, couldn't make the reunion, wishing you all the well from Paris. Gwyn and the boys. It says Gwyn, but we don't know where Gwyn is from. Yeah, so let's create a highlight. I also realized I never looked up something on this one. We never looked up Stephanie Jones. So let's look up Stephanie Jones. Let's see what we can find. Let's not jump past it. I have it in here, right? Yeah. I can type Jones. You learn from an election results page that Stephanie Jones, a candidate for City Council, won her campaign on election day about a month ago. You found no mentions of the Roottrees in any articles about her. Stephanie also has a very bare-bones website for her campaign. It is simply a picture of her campaign mailer, and underneath it says, be sure to read the full article in the Butler County Times. Okay. Stephanie Jones. Aha! The most recent mention of Stephanie Jones is a small report detailing election results from last month's election. Stephanie apparently won her election. You also find a full version of the newspaper clipping on the back of the campaign mailer. While most of it is unimportant, you do find the following. Stephanie Jones, born Stephanie Landon until her marriage to local business owner Brian Jones, lived in Butler County her whole life. Well, that's huge info. Okay, if we ever find out how they connect, we've got their names and pictures. Stephanie grew up in a home without a father. With my mother and her partner, I essentially had an entire female influence. Okay, that's also interesting. So that would mean that we would expect her to have two mothers. Okay. Though she is a distant cousin of the Rootrees, so at least second cousin or further, her mother Caroline, a local artist who has appeared on the front page of the Butler County Times in the past, there we go, has often come out opposed to the corporation's policies regarding deforestation of indigenous trees to expand their maple farms. Unlike my mother, I'm not a fighter. I want to bring love into the world. Caroline Roottree Landon? Caroline Landon? Landon? Roottree? Caroline? There's a lot of people called Caroline. Yeah, I'm aware there's a lot of people called Caroline, okay? Caroline Jones? Shouldn't be Jones, but that's fine. Let's go back to Stephanie. Okay, that's fine. But that, yeah, her father could have been a Roottree. That's the thing. Okay, distant cousin of the Roottrees, it said. Okay. Interesting. So we don't have a ton about her. What about Brian Jones? Let's see if there's anything about Brian. There are many advertisements over the years, as well as a small article from 1995 about Jones Graphic and Print. The article is a piece about Brian Jones taking over his family's print company after 20 years. Brian seems to not have let it go to waste as a marketing opportunity during an interview portion. I've been in and out of that shop my whole life. My father taught me everything there is to know when it comes to getting the job done right and getting it done quick. We've been a printing staple of Butler County for years, and even the Butler County Times uses us for their coupon pages a few times a year. Thanks, by the way, he laughs. But still, whether you're a new client or one of our regulars, nothing will change. Come on down for the best prices on bulk printing anywhere in the state of Pennsylvania, or search for us online. I designed the website myself. Jones Graphic and Print. Okay. Let's just do that for a second. And okay, so Jones Graphic and Print. That's what I want to search. Search. Jones Graphic and Print is a company that, according to its website, has existed in Butler County for some time. The website seems fancy. It even has frames. The website lists the address, hours, and a few examples of clients and work that has been done for each. So they've done mailers for Stephanie Jones, Roottree Candy Company, they've done banners and posters, Butler County, Holiday Light Post banners, Miracle Network tour flyers, Roottree Motors, coupon flyers, Butler County School District various banners and posters, Butler Summer Theatre posters, and set contributions for Children of Eden. We just create a copy of that. That's interesting. Also, that seems like the kind of thing that might have an article. Yeah. So let's look for Roottree Motors. Yeah. Okay. They may be featured in other places. Thank you for the tip. There's an ad for Roottree Motors in the paper. It seems Roottree Motors used to be called Wilkins Motors. Okay. Great highlight. I also don't know what we just got there, but that's fine. An ad for Roottree Motors has run every week in every week's Butler County Times for many years, but recently has changed to include a picture. 3 different unique versions of the ad have been added to your evidence. 3 versions of it. Okay. So let's look at Wilkin Motors. Okay. Let's spider search it. Okay, that's fine. Children of Eden? Let's go back down here. Children of Eden. Let's see if there's anything in here for Children of Eden. Children of Eden is a musical of songs by Stefan Schwartz. A game designer by the name of Jeremy Johnson really likes it and realized it could kind of fit timeline-wise with the game we was making and decided to use it as something of a fake. Instead of something fake, as a kind of Easter egg. You don't need to check it out, but if you do, I like the songs The Hardest Part of Love and Lost in the Wilderness. If you haven't already, you should hit the back button to go back to Jones Graphic and Print. Instead of searching for Children of Eden, you should probably search for whoever was performing it. Alright then, I will. Let's do that. The Butler Summer Theatre performs plays and musicals during the summer. Makes sense. As it is not summer currently, their website has a thank you message. Thanks for making our 1998 season such a success. Stay tuned for announcements about performances in 1999. The website lists the credits of a musical which seems to be the final show they performed last season. There's a cast list, but none of the names seem relevant. Below the cast list, it lists the crew. 2 things stand out. Posters and additional set choreography, or I read 2 lines. Posters and additional set design elements by Jones Graphics and Prints, and choreography by November Studios. November Studios. Let me just create a highlight so we've got a link back here. November Studios. A local dance school. They advertise lessons on ballet and jazz classes. There's hardly any other information available. In the newspaper? Oh, instead of November Studios, maybe they should have called this place No Mention Studios, because you don't find any information about it anywhere. Nice thought, though. It's getting a little meta. Okay. Interesting. I want to look up Carl Roottree in this. Why? Because it's a new publication that we don't already have. Let's see what it has to say about him. Okay. Carl is mentioned in the Butler County Times quite often, including an article that also mentions Ernie Jr. Most of the articles concerning Carl are not important. The plane crash is too recent to appear in the archives. One announces Carl's marriage to Brenda White in 1978. They were both in their early 20s. Another, even more frivolous, apparently in 1981, Carl got quite drunk at a charity event and broke his arm falling down some stairs. The article mentions that also mentions Ernie is from 1996, when Carl took over as the 5th president of the Roottree Candy Company from Ernie Jr. Ernie Jr. apparently liked to stay out of the spotlight and never appeared in the Butler County Times other than a few mentions here and there. The article does mention his illness for the reason Ernie Jr. was stepping down. Alright, I think it's time. Ernie Jr. Roottree? Let's see if we can find some information. Nothing, huh? Anything in Spider Search? Ernie... Maybe they just called him Ernie Roottree? Maybe they did that in here? Nothing, huh? Okay. I think I'm good to go to the next piece. So I think we got a lot here. Yeah. I think we got a lot here. There's some dates and things that might be relevant, but I think that's fine. So where do we even go next? Let's go to this next. Actually, let's not go to this. This was too far forward. Let's go to Roottree Motors next. Yeah. That's the next logical place for us to go. Wilkins Motors is now Roottree Motors. We may have a new name, but we promise we're still the same family business. All that's different is we've joined a sweeter family. Aha. Funny noises, need new oil. Come on down, we'll fix her up. Call the fixers at 555 Fix Her Up, right off I-72, take exit 23. So an ad that ran from 1974 to 1977 advertises that the former name of Roottree Motors was Wilkin Motors. Wilkin Motors is still the same family business but has joined the Roottree family. Married into it, maybe? Yeah, maybe married into it. Okay. But now we can go to this. Wait. You can't say new on it. Oh, there's a couple. Okay, I see. Your local family mechanic servicing the entire Pittsburgh area. Okay. And then the third one? A picture. Tessa Roottree, our newest fixer, learned all there is to know about cars from her Roottree Motors parents. Okay. It says Roottree Motors has been around for 50 years, family business. Also that Tessa Roottree, the newest fixer, has learned all there is to know about cars from her Roottree Motor parents. Okay. Do we know anything about Tessa? Nothing, huh? Anything in here about Tessa Roottree? No. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Right. So we have no idea where that links on the family tree, so there's nothing we can do with that yet, but it's kind of information that will be useful eventually. Kind of thing an organized system might get you. There's something new here, it's just tell me the story's updated, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's just tell me the story updated. That's fine. Okay, so. This is the Free Spirits. So, couldn't make the reunion, wishing you all the well from Paris. Gwyn and the boys. So Gwyn had 2 children. The Free Spirits. Okay. Let's look for the Free Spirits. Okay. Gwyn Roottree. Aha. You find some information on a website about old films that are not yet available on VHS. The site is not very well organized and the search is broken, but you can get to individual pages from your search engine. Gwyn Roottree is a somewhat well-known actress who was active in the 1950s. She often appeared in tabloids, especially around the time of her highly publicized divorce. Okay. Divorce. Interesting. Her biggest role was the minor hit movie Guys Like Us. She left Hollywood after the flop of Christmas Mission. There's a widely circulated picture of Gwyn from behind the scenes in one of her movies, which you've added to evidence. Did you know, trivia, Gwyn was the granddaughter of Elias Roottree, founder of the Roottree candy. She shouldn't have been named Roottree, but her father took her mother's famous name, which was quite rare in those days. That's some good trivia. Okay, and we'll get these two. And then Guys Like Us. Let's see. You signed some information on a website about old films that are not available on VHS. Right. Guys Like Us is a 1953 film in which two secretaries cut their hair short and pose as businessmen to get ahead in life until one of them falls in love with their client and hilarity ensues. Starring Gwyn Roottree, Leslie Florence, and Harrison Lane. Okay. The title is a play on words, as it can be read that the two women are men similar. The title is a play on words, as it can be read that the two women are men similar to other men, or that the men are fond of them. I see. Very, very, very well done. Christmas Mission. Christmas Mission is on a page called Flops. It is a war movie about World War I released in 1955 that received poor reviews and lost the studio money. Gwyn Roottree had a role as a soldier's wife who wrote letters from home. You find no additional relevant information. The movie was marked as an incredibly true story, but no record of the events happening has ever been found, so this isn't that useful. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Seeing if there's anything else. Let's go back to this one for a second. Yes, there's nothing on Gwyn. The only thing to do after that is look at Gwyn in here. So, anything in here? The Butler County Times has been around for a long time. You find ads from 1950s for local movie theatres that happened to list Gwyn Roottree's name and cast lists for the films they were showing at the time. Yeah, okay. So nothing new there. It's unlikely to be in Business Watch either. Okay. So we got stuff there, but not a lot of stuff there. That's fine. But this is Gwyn Roottree. Seen it on multiple websites about old films. Gwyn Roottree is on notable Roottrees list in your evidence. She'll be marked on the chart with a star. Okay. This photo was tucked inside. Oh, also I'll just do this while I remember. It was tucked inside an envelope with a letter beneath a candle in the corner of his office. The letter says, "To Carl and Brenda, I'm sorry you were unable to attend the funeral. It's traditional to have it as soon as possible, and Ernie, more than anyone else on earth, knew how busy your job can be. I've enclosed a Shiva candle identical to ours if you'd like to pay your respects, though it's not expected for those outside the faith to do so." Okay, that's interesting. So we're assuming that this is something to do with somebody of a different faith. So Ernie had a different faith? Ernie was a man full of love, not only for his family, but for his family's legacy. He had an immense amount of pride for the work you three did together, as well as how Carl has carried on for him after taking over. As for myself, it's impossible to express my gratitude for rescuing us from the panic and burden of endless bills. Though we caught it too late for him to get on the donor list, the company took care of us beyond our wildest expectations. Went unsaid at the time, but Ernie and I knew it had to have been Carl that convinced the trust, and that there was no coincidence that it happened to be shortly after your visit, Brenda. Up until the end, Ernie and I had to stay strong, especially for Nicole's sake. We could never have done that without the two of you fighting for us. Much love, Debbie. I had an idea, actually. We didn't find anything on Ernie before, but did we look at Ernie in Business Watch? Ernie Roottree. Ernie? There we go. Root President to take over Roottree. Due to his heart illness, Ernie Jr. stepping down as president of Roottree at the start of the second quarter in 1996. His second cousin Carl, president of the sister company Root and former Watchman of the Year, will take over. It's been 13 years since Ernie was forced to step into the role of president unexpectedly. Back then, not much was known about the man other than his full name. In the years since, he's taken on a bit of a reputation as a real-life Wonka. He's known as a bit of an eccentric and reclusive, opting to be called simply Ernie Jr. and to forego the typical luxuries of the average Roottree. Ah, so that's probably why we haven't found anything about him with Roottree in the name, because he's deliberately not going by that name. But by our estimation, he's been a shrewd businessman with an eye for sweets. Ernie Jr. has led Roottree to record profits by developing new products, including the ever-popular Maple Crisp, and by spearheading the formation of Root with his cousin in 1987 after learning of Brenda Roottree's power in the fashion community. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to here and we're going to look for Ernie. Nothing, huh? How about Ernie Jr. in here? Ernie Jr. Aha. Ernie Jr. was the former president of the Roottree Candy Company. He seems to directly precede Carl Roottree, and one website even says he was Carl's mentor. He was apparently very successful as president, but not so much of a public figure. He was rarely seen in public and stepped down due to an illness in 1997. He has since passed away. And not a lot of info on Ernie. Okay. Back to this. So these must be Ernie's children, and this must be Debbie. Debbie Roottree? Debbie Roottree? I spelled Debbie wrong? I always think it's worth checking. No, I spelled it right. Anything in the County Times about Debbie Roottree? I was trying to think maybe obituary from 1996, but maybe there wouldn't be. Okay. Well, you know what? This will help me. What have we got? Shiva candle. I don't know what religion it is. I think it's Judaism, but let's have a look. Public search. Alright, well. I will make my guess and we will move on. Okay, now we have this one. This photo has a note attached from your employer. Every 20 years or so, the Roottrees would hold a big reunion to recreate an old family photo. This one is from the 70s and Carl's a teenager in the middle. Sorry about the water damage, a pipe burst in Carl's office. On the back of the photo, in childish print writing, it says November. There are also a large number of cursive signatures. They include Bonnie, ex-president Guy Hudson, Ernie Jr., Caroline, Gwyneth M. Gwendolyn Miracle, Gwyneth M. Gwendolyn Miracle Jr., Jim Roottree, Clark, Carl, and Ellie M. Okay. That's a lot of names. Also hard to parse. Cool. We got them all. So, well, we know this is Carl. That much is easy. That one is Carl. Okay. Do we have anyone else? We should have James in there at some point, and we should have Clark. Are they in order? Okay. I'm just trying to figure out if they're... Is that Guy Hudson, maybe? That person looks like... Wait a second. So that's Eli M. Eli M looks like he potentially... I don't know, that looks like he's maybe wearing work clothing. Maybe he is part of the motor company one. The childish handwriting says November. Okay. So we have Bonnie, ex-president Guy Hudson, Ernie Jr. So do we have do we have Brenda? So no Brenda. So there's no Brenda here. This seems like it's so much info, but I think it's just pictures. Yeah. Ex-president Guy Hudson. So we know that Guy Hudson is in there. So he's probably president number 3. Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to figure this one out here, who we've got. So Carl and Eli M. So I think Carl and Eli M have to be the ones from this, right? CM. Carl M? Potentially. Do we have a Carl M in here? I'm just going to use this to search. Carl M. I don't have any Carl. Okay. Wait, there's no Carl? That's interesting. Clark. So Clark must be Clark Rafferty, right? Do we have anybody who looks like Clark Rafferty in here? I'm trying to see if there's anything about him that gives him away. Brown eyes. Slightly red eyes in this one. Brown eyes, red eyes. Okay. It's hard to tell, I'll be honest. It is a little hard to tell. Which is fine. So what else have we got? So we got Gwyneth M. So we know Gwyneth M is there. So wait a second. So you're Gwyneth, right? Gwyneth. So you must be Gwyneth Anderson, because there's no way that, because there's nobody who is that old in that photo. Yeah, none of you are old. So therefore that has to be Gwyneth Anderson. It's the only answer. Gwyneth Anderson. How many do I have? I think I only have one in here. What was Gwyneth Anderson's well, let's have a look. Gwyneth Anderson. Gwyneth Anderson? Alright, now I'm going to go and look up the spelling of Gwyneth. There we go. Go back over here. Aha! You find some information on the website for the first Anderson maple farm. There are a few pictures, including a famous picture of Elias and Gwyneth. The picture was added to your evidence. Before marrying Elias, Gwyneth Roottree was Gwyneth Anderson. She had no brothers, so as the oldest sister, she was to inherit Anderson Maple Farm so long as she married. Before Elias took over, the farm produced only syrup. It was supposedly Elias's idea to create candy instead. Their success was not immediate until they decided to combine the maple with other flavors. This led to 5 pieces, which are still found in stores to this day. Though the Roottree Candy Company expanded well beyond their original farm, it has been preserved as a tourist attraction. According to their website, there are still daily demonstrations and educational tours that show off many of the turn-of-the-century applications that Gwyneth would have used as a housewife in the early 1900s. Wait a second. There we go. And then we're going to go back to here, and we're going to stick her in there. Gwyneth Anderson. Okay, yeah, so nothing useful in there. Anything business watch? No. Okay. That's fine. Back to here. So you're a housewife. So, housewife. We have her locked in. Wonderful. That's great news. Okay. Still working out where everything goes here. So, we can assume from this photo that everybody is roughly the same age. Like, they're all in the same age group, right? So we can assume that they are probably all on the same line-ish. Because, yeah, they're all on the same line. That makes sense. So, we have... Let's try and work out who people are. So, you're Eli M. So you're Eli M. So, who do we reckon's next? Who else have we got? Gwyneth M must be you. You must be Gwyneth M. Okay, let's have a look at... Is it Eli M? Roottree Elias M. Okay, so that's you. Then do we have a... Gwyneth M? So it's Gwyneth Madsen. So those are actually different people, actually. So they are not related. So Elias M is simply his middle name is M. He's still Roottree. So that's Elias Roottree. So you must be married to Wilkins. So I think that you're Bonnie Wilkins or Caroline Wilkins? Wilkins. You must be Catherine. Or there must be a Catherine in there. It doesn't say Catherine, but I assume that must be how that's connected. Anyway. Gwendolyn. So, next president, Guy Hudson. Okay. Bonnie. So do we have a Bonnie in here? Hudson Bonnie. Okay. Okay. That's something we can work with. So, this must be Guy and Bonnie, right? That makes sense to me. That's Guy and Bonnie. It's because, yeah, that must be them. I think that's Ernie Jr. Carolyn, Gwyneth M, Gwendolyn. No, it's not in order. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is there any? So you two look like you're together, although you look incredibly unhappy about it. Okay. There's stuff we can there's stuff we can think about here. So we should come back to this later. So this is the free spirits, which is the second thing we've seen actually. So is there no information on the free spirits? Is that maybe something I would find in this? The free spirits. Nothing, huh? Anything in Spider Search for the free spirits? Now, we looked at that before as well. Okay. Well, I said, if we ever found ourselves stuck, go back to the notable ones. So we've got Gwyn Roottree, Elias and Gwyneth Roottree. Let's have a look at Elias and Gwyneth Roottree. I think our main problem right now is we have nobody on the top. I think my problem right now for finding out this tree and what will really move things along is the moment we get another generation. At that point, everything falls into place. But the problem is getting that generation thing, because we've got 5 children at the top. We know one of them is we know this is a daughter. Actually, you know what I should do with this? Unknown female. Okay, so we should do that. But the rest we don't know. We don't know all of his children. Okay, so I said if we got stuck, we'd do this. So let's do Elias and Gwyneth Roottree. It said to search the whole thing. I would also really love it if it just stuck there. There we go. Search internet. I guess I'll look for one of them. Gwyneth Roottree. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, okay. So those were the. Never mind. Those are the great grandparents. Gwyn Roottree. Okay, so this was the actress. We've already seen her. Okay. Red Roottree. We've definitely not found anything about Red Roottree. You find some information on a website about strange historical facts. Elias Herring Roottree, aka Red, was an appointed judge and politician who earned his name ironically because he was ambassador to Ireland for only about 6 days. He served what people contend is the shortest term in history. A few days after he was appointed, he was heard disparaging his position and the Irish people. He then tried to run for state senate. He claimed to be related to the Roottree Candy Company in a newspaper ad, but it came out that his last name was merely a coincidence and he was defeated in a landslide. Okay. There's a sensationalized headline from 1932, Red Roottree Rally, Red Roottree Rally Racket Revealed. The article mentions a man named Elias Herring Roottree who was running for office in North Carolina. At a campaign event, he claimed to be related to the Roottrees and promised free 5 pieces on election day to all those who proved they voted. Okay, so let's have a look here. Let's search for that specifically. Anything for that name in here? Nothing. So he's not related, but he might be related. That's interesting. What's interesting as well is if we go back to the 5 pieces. Wait a second, is a red herring? that's why it's called Red Roottree. Never mind. Never mind. Lauren Roottree. A distant relative of the Roottree Sisters is known for her book, A Life Between Wars. Okay. According to a website about famous authors in the 1960s, Lauren released a few romantic novels under her married name, Lauren Rafferty, to little fanfare. When her publisher learned she had been keeping diaries about her famous family, they insisted she release them under her original name, Lauren Roottree, to take advantage of her family's notoriety. The selection of diary entries released from 1965 as A Life Between Wars spans from the untimely death of her husband in World War II to coping with the post-war world as a young widow and mother, as well as the perspectives on changing times in society and socialites, all the way through to the entry into Vietnam. Yeah, that's fine. I think I know where she goes. This is great. While the content is not considered particularly relevant to modern audiences, it's found new life as an exercise in high school English classes to show an evolution in writing style to look into life from previous generations. After the success of her diaries, her publisher re-released the romance novels under the name Lorraine Roottree. This included Romance in Court, which gained popularity. Okay, we might as well have a look at that as well. Did it say it's got something else? Life Between Wars, yeah. Oh, it's the same book. Okay, in both of them. She followed the re-release up by writing 2 new sequels, creating what fans referred to as the Court Jester series. Find no recent details about Lorraine, though, as she is listed as retired. Okay. So, what did I figure out? Well. What I figured out is that she has to be here. This is Lauren Roottree, who was a author. There we go. We don't have a picture, but that's okay. Do we have any other Raffertys? Chris and Jacob. No. Okay. So, but we do have a Lauren Roottree. That's something to work with. Okay, well, let's start looking for things. Let's continue. So I want to find anything which says Lauren Rafferty in here. Same thing? Same thing. Okay. Public library. Lauren Rafferty. It was called A Life Between Wars, which she released twice. But that's okay. Lauren Roottree. Aha. We got some stuff. It seems you've hit the jackpot here. This book occasionally taught in schools. You even find a hardcover edition for students that has a full page, high quality pictures in it. A summary of the contents of the book's photos, as well as some particularly relevant entries from the diary, have been added to your evidence. Wonderful. Before I do that, though, we got more to search. That's what I was trying to do. Romance in Court. A romance novel by Lauren Roottree. About the author blurb mentioned she has the inspiration from one of her brother Clancy's lectures on Middle Ages. Aha, so she has a brother called Clancy who did lectures on the Middle Ages. Court Jester series. Two sequels. Yeah, so we can't find anything else. That's fine. Can I do it without book title? No. Okay. That's fine. Back over here. Let's close this. And let's have a look at this one. Lauren's diary contains some labeled pictures. This is the 5 pieces. Caption: this picture was famous in our house. Papa even had it framed. That's him on the left. Okay. It was taken in 1953 to celebrate the move to the new warehouse that Eli Jr. designed. Angie and I both wanted to be in the photo since Miracle was in it, and the 3 of us were about the same age. Okay. We're told only the 5 pieces, which didn't go over well, to say the least. Eventually, I suppose, to stop the tantrums, they posed us in front of the camera with Mr. Morden, who was there with Aunt Gwendolyn. Okay. Great highlight. I found out later that they never even took a second photo. Oh, also, yeah, people at the back. Okay, so that's probably Morden. So this is Elias, right? Or is that? Wait a second. Pop was on the left. Pop was on the left. So now I'm questioning here. Pop must be father. Yes. So this is going to be Pop. Right? That seems correct. Uh-huh. That must be his wife. But you right? Wait, no, it can't be. Because there's no pit. Okay, no, so these must be the 5 children. Yeah. That's fine. You're Miracle. You are by far the youngest. Therefore, you have to be the person on the far right of the family tree. Okay. So you are that person. Was your name actually Miracle? No. Wait, Roottree Miracle Jr.? Miracle Roottree. I don't know what your occupation is, but that must be who you are. Okay. Who else have we got in the picture? Only the 5 pieces. Celebrate the move to the new warehouse that Eli Jr. designed. So this must be Eli Jr. who designed the warehouse. That must be Mr. Morden. I'm assuming one of these is Gwendolyn. Yeah, and then the other one... Yeah, one of them is Gwendolyn, and the other one is whoever the other one is. Okay. Oh, what's this? That's Life Between Wars. Okay. That's fine. So that's pretty good info we got here, actually. That's solid info. Pop was on the left, yeah. But you don't have who your Pop's name is. Okay. Then we're gonna go to you. Lauren's diary contains some labeled pictures. This is the next generation. An attempt to recapture the spirit of the 5 pieces photo of our generation. For old time's sake, we gathered on the warehouse floor. I wanted Eli to stand all the way to the left, since to me he looked a lot like Pop. Also, we'll just click everybody in here as well. He looked a lot like Pop did in the old one, but I was outvoted by my brothers. They insisted that the 4 of us stand together, so we clumped up in the middle and let everyone filter in behind and in front of us. The only one too good to make an appearance was Gwyn, so Gwyn was not there. Okay, that's fine. Eli looks like Pop, so that must be Eli. Okay. Grandma insisted that we include Sam even if we didn't want to. None of us understood why, including Sam. I also didn't think it fair that Miracle made it in, since he's technically a 5-piece. I guess my inner child still holds a grudge even after all these years. Okay. Interesting. So, that must be Grandma at the back. So Grandma to... So this is to Lauren. Well, that doesn't... Okay, she must not be in the picture. That's fine. Gwyn didn't make an appearance, so where are we? That's fine. Yeah. I was outvoted by my brothers to insist the 4 of us stand together, so we clumped up in the middle. So that is Lauren. This has to be Lauren then. Let's just mark her here. So that's Lauren. Is that correct? Yeah. That is the youngest brother. There is no doubt that that is the youngest brother. So you are over here as youngest brother. Where are we? That one? Yeah, it's that one. So you're youngest brother. Okay. That makes sense. Then, in here, we have the other 2 brothers. One of which is named Eli. Okay. Eli Jr. Second cousin? Could you... Interesting. Well, maybe I got this wrong. I want to unmark you. But Eli Jr. is in this generation, as is Clancy. Okay. The only one too good to make an appearance was Gwyn. Too good to make an appearance was Gwyn. So of this line, maybe. Yeah. Gwyn being the actress. Okay. Interesting. So we have no idea really who these people are. Although you've got the colourful tie, and in the previous photo there was somebody with a colourful tie, right? No, in the next photo there was someone with a colourful tie. So in that photo, you have a colourful tie. Blue, red, yellow. Blue, red, yellow. So I'm assuming that that is Sam. Right? Potentially that's Sam? Yeah, I think that must be Sam. And then that must be Miracle? Let me go back to Miracle for a second here from the original photo. Yeah, so he's missing, like he's got an eye patch there, so he's moved on to glasses. So that is a better photo of Miracle, actually. So we're going to switch Miracle up to this one. Therefore, this, well, I don't know. I was going to say this person must be Miracle's child, but maybe not. Maybe it's not Miracle's child. Maybe it's just a child. Yeah, okay. So that's Miracle, which then leaves us with that group plus two more. So you two are the other ones. So this was in this generation. So they said the only one too good to turn up was Gwyn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But Miracle's there as well. Interesting. Okay. Well, this got us some information. Let's look at this one as well. Okay. So, below are notes and observations you made while skimming through Lauren, I don't know why I keep calling her Lorraine. Lauren Roottree's diary pages in A Life Between Wars. Lauren Roottree is on the notable Roottrees list and your evidence should be marked with a star on the chart. Yes. Just thought I'd confirm she was. Book was published 1965 and consists of diary entries that stretch from 1940 to 1965. The most important event that much of the diary and Lauren's thoughts revolve around was the loss of her husband, Jacob. Jacob died in the final months of World War II, while Lauren was pregnant. Okay, so this has to be Jacob Rafferty. Yeah. So we're going to say that's Jacob Rafferty. Okay. So this is Jacob Rafferty. And then this is going to be the picture of Jacob Rafferty. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Yep. This left her to raise her son Clark alone. Lauren never remarried and only had one child. That's fine. By skimming the pages of a diary, you'd glean the following information. She was the granddaughter of Elias and Gwyneth on her father's side. Yeah, we know that. So, that's fine. Her mother's family was called the Cossels, but she hardly ever mentions them. Her father, who she always refers to as Pop, was the head lawyer for the Roottree Candy Company and helped write the legal document called the Clancy Trust. So that's Clancy. That must be Clancy then. Yeah. Wait a second. Let's just first of all highlight. So, this is Clancy. Your name is Roottree Clancy Edward. You were a lawyer. Well done. Ho ho. These entries are correct and have been locked. Gwyneth Anderson, Clancy Edward Roottree, and Lauren Roottree. Booyah! And this is Cossel. This must be Sarah Cossel. All right. And then Lauren, that's you. Perfect. Well, that seems like a much better moment to end the episode on than we previously had. We have the name of one of the 5 pieces. And, as with a puzzle, once we get all the ones around the edge, it's going to be a lot easier to match people up going forward. Because we can simply go down generations. We know one of her brothers was called Clancy. We've got a lot of information we can potentially do with that. Now we know that he's the lawyer, Sarah Cossel. There's maybe something we can do with that. There's a lot of information. So, I'm going to end the episode here. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Life is life, love shall be. Me for you and you for me. Someday